We work on balance a lot in physio and also obviously in Pilates. The main thing with balance is to make sure that your body reacts in time, that your balance mechanisms work well. And one of those balance mechanisms is what we call proprioception. So if you've heard of people who say, look, I've got a weak ankle, basically they've had an issue with their ankle where they've rolled their ankle and had a ligament damage or a ligament sprain or a ligament strain. But also what tends to happen is your ankle is not rehabbed properly. So that goes the same for ankles. It also goes the same for knees. So if you've had some damage around your limbs, obviously they are what carry you around in space. You need your balance, you need your mechanisms to work. And typically people who have what we call poor proprioception are ones that go crazy if they have to walk on uneven ground. So if you're on steps or cobblestones or sand, grass, anything where the surface isn't firm, people tend to be a little bit worried about it. They feel that their ankle's going to go on them or their knee might give way on them. And a lot of that is the proprioception in that knee, or the ability to feel and react in space and time in an appropriate manner isn't quite there. So we do a lot of work with proprioception in terms of physio. So, if you've damaged your ankle, damaged your knee, we definitely want to make sure that your balance mechanisms are correct, because you want your body to react in time. So if you're standing on one leg and you lose your balance, or you lose and sway a little bit, or you're standing on an uneven surface and your ankle or your knee starts to go, proprioception is the ability for that leg to correct and right itself before damage occurs. So if you're balancing, if I stand up here, right, I'm balancing on my leg here and I'm pretty static and stable, I'm pretty good and my balance is okay. But if I'm on an uneven surface and I'm starting to shift and sway a little bit, I'm challenging my balance mechanisms around the knee. So that's, in a nutshell, what proprioception is. People who have what they deem as weak ankles can fall under two categories. They've got severe ankle ligament damage, which basically means their ankle's unstable anyway, and it means that when they go over on their ankle or go on uneven surfaces, it feels very, very tentative, or they're very worried about it damaging again. They're prone to damage as well, because obviously their ligament is not as concrete or as secure as it should be, but also from a point of view that if their balance mechanisms and their proprioception isn't correct, they're going to damage it again anyway. Okay. The other category of people, so if you actually have a true ligament damage, you're structurally unstable. You structurally have a lax ligament, which means that your joint moves more than normal, which means it's even more important to have your mechanisms working well. Those people who have, again, weak ankles, but they don't have any structural damage, so their ligaments are intact, there isn't any laxity there, they've pretty much got good strong ligaments. What they don't have is the balance mechanisms to correct it, so their muscles don't work efficiently. So if you look at, say that's your leg, and then you've got your ankle joint underneath, your ankle can move side to side, and what you want is all the muscles reacting in time. So if you happen to go that way on your ankle, all the muscles react in space to correct you and hold you in that upright position, so everything rights itself. If you have weaker or poor proprioception, what happens is you go over on your ankle, one muscle won't work, the next one is a bit delayed, the next one is a bit delayed, and you'll just fall over on your ankle. So it's the ability for your ankle to react in an appropriate time, in an appropriate manner, to keep you on your correct path is the simplest way. There's a whole heap of things that are involved in that. So obviously your nervous system needs to react in time, so your nerves need to fire. You want your proprioceptions for balance, so your joint receptors, so you know where you are in space. If they feel that you're off center, they fire quickly enough that your muscles can correct. And obviously you need muscles that react in time to get all that to happen. And you're talking milliseconds. You're not talking that you've got, oh, I'm going over, let's get this going, let's get this going. It has to be pretty much immediately to get that happening. So we're going to go through some basic proprioception exercises this week. They will work for ankle injuries, knee injuries, hip injuries, basically anything lower limb. And we're looking at potentially do them barefoot if you can, so you get some good anchorage through the ground, you get some good feedback from your foot. You can do them obviously with shoes on if you feel that you need your feet in support just to start getting them going. But the good thing and the reason why Pilates tends to work is because we work everyone in sort of no shoes, so you have to use your feet to feel the ground. So I'm just going to take a couple of steps backwards, and this is your basic start point for today. What's your balance like? Okay, so I will come and stand a little bit further away, and all I'm basically going to do is standing. I'll just take my shirt off and jacket off because it's really hot. We're just going to see what your balance is like in space. So standing upright, just lift one leg off the floor and try and balance. Okay, and do it shoes on. So I've got my runners on at the moment, so do it shoes on and just see what your balance is like, and then change foot. Okay, if you were watching a couple of weeks ago now, we were doing this for stability and we were checking how strong your glutes are. The purpose of this is to really look at your balance and your balance around your leg. The next one I would do is just kick your shoes off and do exactly the same. And I've got shoes off this time, and do exactly the same balance. So what we're looking at is if you're in shoed feet, so your feet are supported, your arches are supported, and you've got what we'd call stability around the foot because you're balanced and your feet have shoes on. That could be quite different to when you take shoes off and your feet are flat on the floor. You might find that you grip a bit more through the toes. You might find that you will get a lot more feedback because your feet are in contact with the floor. So you'll get a lot more feedback from your proprioception or your mechanisms around the foot. If you find there is a little bit of discrepancy between the two, what we're then looking at is if you stand on one leg and close your eyes, does your balance then start to change and fall? Or if you stand on one leg and close your eyes, does it stay the same? Same on the other leg. So you might find if you're doing it this way, I've lifted my leg up, close my eyes, and I should be relatively stable. Just a quick point, if you are doing that, just bring the chair I've got here, just pop your hands on the chair. So if you are going to balance and you haven't done it before, you've got a bit of a safety net. But that's a good way for you to check what your balance is like. So stand on one leg, shoes on, stand on one leg, shoes off, and then stand on one leg, eyes closed, and just see what the difference is. Can you maintain your body in space? Remember, if you drop that hip, you're probably weak through your glutes, so you want to make sure that you're stable as you're holding on. And also in terms of your foot, make sure you're doing it on a flat surface for now, so that you've got sort of a decent space in front of you. We do this quite a lot in class, so we might have people standing on a mat, and the mat itself is a bit of a spongy surface, so your balance mechanism is quite different. So start with 10 seconds, build up if you can to a minute, and then if you can, eyes closed, see how long you can manage. And you should feel when your eyes closed, there's a lot more work going around under the foot. Remember, half of our balance is through the eyes. So you see people when they're doing their dancer or the ballet dancers, they will spot and turn, and they'll spot and turn, and they're constantly looking in a space, a point in space. It's because our eyes have a lot of our balance mechanisms in them. We need our eyes just to help us with our balance, and if we take our eyes away, we're then relying on a lot of our joints in space to do that balance work for us. So have a little go at those, have a little test of your balance there today, and tomorrow, and definitely, I've just put a hole in my sock, definitely through the week, we'll work on some balance work for ankles, which will also translate through to knees. So some of the normal proprioception work and balance work that can mimic anything. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Test your balance, see how you go. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that has surprised you, or if there's anything that you would like me to cover. Feel free, always drop us a note in there. See you soon.